me a little bit about what it was like growing up here and how, as a teenager, the things you experienced maybe set the scene for what you're now doing.
Okay, yeah. Growing up in Tower Hamlets, my earliest recollection of being the age 4, really, I grew up on a council estate in Bromley by Bow, and I just remember, from the age of 4, looking out of the window of this council estate and seeing loads of kids I didn't know, families didn't know each other because it was a new estate. We'd all been moved from semi-derelict houses in Mile End, and going down with my brother and older sister and walking around this new council estate, and kids looking at each other, testing each other out, not sure who was who, and yeah, it was quite scary at first, really, when I think back. And what I soon quickly began to realise was how young people start to act tough, not because they necessarily want to be violent, but because they don't want people to be violent to them. So that was my first kind of memory of learning on a council estate the code of the street.
And then as you grew up as a teenager, what were the challenges for you?
Well, challenges, I struggled in secondary school. I really didn't understand how maths and science in the morning had any relationship to PE and geography in the afternoon. I never remember in my 5 years of comprehensive school any one teacher sitting down saying this is what it means as a system, as a product, and how that meant anything for what we were struggling with out on the council estates with, peer pressure, not sure what future we would have. And when you realise in school that you may not pass your exams, what kind of future you would have academically or career-wise. So they're quite uncertain times for me, really.
So what happened when you finished school? What did you go on to do?
Well, just before I finished school, I found an outlet in breakdancing and body popping from stuff I'd seen in America. That was the first time it really gave me a vision of something outside of my community, something to focus on. So I was very focused on street dance at the time, but I left school with no qualifications, and I remember my best friend, who left 2 years before me, went into painting and decorating, so I just followed him. I mean, I'll give you an example. I remember like the careers teacher stroke psychologist sat me down in a room and said, Darren, look, your grades, you've not done the work to get your grades. We're wondering what it's going to be in your exams. What do you want to be? And just being cocky, I turned around and said, I want to be a rocket scientist, but I'm not prepared to travel. And they just said, why are you throwing your life away? And I was just cracking jokes, really. And when I look back at that, it was quite sad, really. This was a key moment in my life, and I was making jokes of it. And that's kind of some of what we grew up with, really, on the council estate. So, to be honest with you, I left school very uncertain, but I went on a YTS scheme for painting and decorating, not because I wanted to do it, because my mate was doing it.